Welcome to the deep dive. We grab dense material, stacks of it sometimes, and give you that fast track to really getting it.
Yeah, helping you get fluent fast.
Exactly. And today, you're joining us as we try to navigate what our sources are calling the sixth great transition.
It sounds dramatic, doesn't it?
It is dramatic
Right.
because this isn't just, another phase of change. It feels like everything is shifting all at once. Science, tech, society, economics, environment, even philosophy.
It's like the ground is unstable everywhere. The sources use this image of cracking ice.
That's a powerful image, cracking ice beneath our feet.
And it's crucial, that image, because think about past transitions, maybe the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
The shift then was mostly centered on maybe technology, maybe economics, one or two big things.
Okay, more focus.
But now, when literally every variable seems to be changing, the old leadership playbook, mastering your little silo, it doesn't work anymore.
It's obsolete.
Totally. If you're leading anything today, an organization, a team, you need a kind of multi-domain operating system just to keep pace.
And that's what brings us to the core idea for this deep dive. Polyintelligent Leadership. PIL for short.
PIL. Right. And this is pitched as the synthesis, the skill set you need, not just to survive this crazy transition.
But to actually thrive in it.
Exactly, to find the opportunities within the churn.
So our mission today is really to unpack this polyintelligence. We need to define its core strands.
And this is the fascinating part, using some really surprising historical examples, that great leadership, it's always relied on this kind of deep synthesis.
We just didn't have the name for it.
Precisely. We're kind of putting a formal structure around an ancient skill, in a way.
Okay, let's get into the definition then. Polyintelligence. You use the word braiding.
Yes, braiding. It's the act of braiding three distinct streams of intelligence into one unified operating system for leadership.
And the key is unified, right? You can't just manage them separately.
No, if you try that, you fail. They have to work together. So the three essential braids.
What are they?
Okay, first, the absolute foundation. Human intelligence, HEI.
Well,
this is your judgment, your ethics, empathy, building trust, creativity, all the things machines, well, they just can't replicate. Not really.
the irreplaceable human stuff.
Yeah.
Is that second?
Second is machine intelligence, MI. This gives you the raw power, speed, scale, automation, AI, big data pattern recognition, stuff human capacity just can't handle alone at today's pace.
Speed and scale. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And the third braid, you said this one really sets PIL apart.
Yes, the third is ecological intelligence, EI.
Ecological intelligence. Tell us more about that.
EI is about systemic awareness, seeing the wider ripples of your decisions. It forces you to kind of lift your head up from the immediate crisis.
Like scan the horizon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scan the horizon. It means thinking about environments, ecosystems, yes, but also shifting cultures, geopolitical tremors, the long-term future impact.
Wow. So it's about context. Deep context.
Deep context and accountability to that context, making sure your operations are accountable to the world they exist in.
Okay, so if a leader adopts this polyintelligent mindset,
Yeah.
what does their decision-making actually look like day to day? Are they constantly switching modes? Like, okay, now I need HI, now I need MI.
No, that's the crucial point. The best ones don't toggle. They unify.
Unify, how?
They operate fast when the machine intelligence, the data, demands speed, but they operate deliberately when human intelligence says, hang on, there's an ethical issue here, or the situation is more complex.
Okay.
And critically, that whole process, fast or deliberate, is always happening against the backdrop of ecological intelligence, that wider awareness.
So it's like a continuous adaptive flow.
Exactly, a single mindset.
Which brings us nicely to the sort of strategic need for PIL. The sources bring up military strategists, which, immediately flags urgency,
Yeah.
competition.
Right, and it tackles a common fear, actually. People worry that all this speed, this automation for machine intelligence will crush thoughtful judgment.
Yeah, does speed kill thoughtfulness? Does MI compromise HI?
Well, that's the tension PIL is designed to manage.
Yeah.
Look at strategist Robert Leonhard. He said time is the dominant dimension of competition now.
Not resources, not position, but time.
Time. Strategic advantage can decay in milliseconds. If you're slow, you just lose. Period.
And Christian Broza, another voice in this space, he
Oh.
emphasized compressing the chain.
Yeah, the kill chain in military terms. But the business equivalent is sensing an opportunity or threat and acting on it, ruthlessly compressing that time.
And MI obviously helps with that compression.
Hugely. But here's the catch. Without the HI element, the judgment, the ethics, the creativity, you just make mistakes faster. You compress the time to failure.
Right. Faster mistakes aren't better.
Exactly. And that's where someone like Frank Diana's insight comes in. He talks about multiple futures always being in play.
Multiple futures?
Yeah, the future isn't fixed. There are many possibilities. So speed alone is useless if you're speeding towards the wrong future. The leader's job, he argues, is to prepare for all plausible futures.
Which needs foresight. That sounds like ecological intelligence again.
Precisely. It requires the foresight of EI. So, you see, PIL isn't about being a master of three separate silos.
It's about standing right in the middle.
Yes. Standing at the intersection, making sure the speed of MI serves the judgment and creativity of HI, all while navigating within the systemic realities shown by EI.
That intersection. That's where the real power is.
That's the operating zone.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting for me. The sources argue this whole PIL concept. It might be newly named, newly formalized.
But it's not actually new.
Right. The historical record shows that the really effective leaders, they were already doing this. They were polyintelligent, even if they didn't call it that.
We just lacked the framework, the language to see it clearly. Let's take an absolutely stunning example. Ernest Shackleton.
The Antarctic explorer. The Endurance expedition, starting 1914.
That's the one. Ship trapped in the ice, crushed. He and 27 men stranded for, 2 years? In the Antarctic wilderness.
An unimaginable situation.
And yet, he got every single man home alive. It's almost unbelievable when you think about the odds.
So if we apply our PIL framework to Shackleton, how does it map?
It maps perfectly. His human intelligence, HI, was off the charts. For 2 years, his main job was managing morale, keeping hope alive.
How do you do that?
Songs, games, routines, maintaining strict naval discipline even when their ship was gone, giving structure when their world had literally dissolved around them. That's pure HI leadership.
Okay, and ecological intelligence, EI.
That was his constant obsessive study of the environment, the shifting ice flows, the weather patterns, the seals and penguins for food. He had to read that hostile ecosystem perfectly to know when to make a move.
Like when to finally abandon the crushed ship or attempt that insane open boat journey.
Exactly. His timing, based on deep environmental observation, was critical. That's ecological intelligence, EI, in its rawest form.
So HI for morale, EI for timing and survival. What about the machine intelligence piece? There were no computers in the Antarctic ice.
Right, no silicon chips. But MI isn't just digital, it's about leveraging systems and tools effectively. For Shackleton, the machine was the salvaged kit from the Endurance.
The instruments, the rigging.
They're navigational instruments, yes. The timber and rigging they repurposed, how they optimized the lifeboats, built sledges, mastering those physical systems and tools under extreme pressure, that was their analog machine intelligence, MI.
Wow. So he braided morale, environmental reading, and tool mastery
into a seamless operating system for survival. It's incredible.
Shackleton shows PIL saving the day when the system collapses. But what about using PIL to build a complex system from scratch? The sources point to Harriet Tubman.
An equally powerful, though very different example, half a century earlier, the Underground Railroad.
And the astonishing fact, she reportedly never lost a single person she was guiding.
Never. The efficiency is staggering, especially given the stakes. Her success is just pure PIL in action.
Break that down for us, her HI.
Unbelievable courage, obviously, but also the immense trust she had to build instantly with terrified people. The psychological resilience, navigating the fear, that's profound human intelligence, HI.
Okay, and EI?
Her intimate lived knowledge of the land, the routes, the waterways, the seasons, the weather, even reading the stars for navigation. Knowing how the environment helped or hindered escape, that's deep ecological intelligence, EI.
Absolutely. So the MI connection, again, no computers.
Her machine intelligence, MI analog, was the operational network itself. Sometimes using actual railways, yes, but more importantly, the system of coded messages, secret signals, safe houses, the network of conductors.
Like a distributed information system.
Exactly. A reliable, often high-speed information relay across vast, dangerous territory. She managed that whole complex system, linking her judgment, HI, her environmental knowledge, EI, and these communication tools and networks, MI.
It's amazing when you frame it that way. But, we don't need to look back over a century. The sources say you can see high-stakes PIL constantly in action today.
Oh, absolutely. Just walk into the control tower at any major airport, air traffic controllers.
Right. That's a fantastic example.
They are living PIL under immense pressure every minute. They're juggling torrents of real-time data radar, flight telemetry.
That's pure machine intelligence.
Yeah.
MI, often heavily automated.
Right. And they have to blend that instantly with clear, calm human communication, often under extreme stress, making critical judgments in seconds. That's high-level human intelligence, HI.
Okay, MI and HI. Where's the EI?
It's constant. They're balancing everything against shifting weather patterns, storm fronts, visibility, even the physical terrain around the airport, potential environmental noise issues. That's the ecological intelligence, EI, piece.
Managing the system within its environment.
Precisely. And the fact that thousands upon thousands of flights operate safely every single day with an incredibly tiny accident rate.
It proves the model works. It proves that braiding these intelligences isn't just possible, it's essential for managing complexity at speed.
It shows the framework is robust, scalable. Which brings us right back to today's organizations, because the reality is, great leadership has always been polyintelligent. Now we just have the vocabulary, the framework to understand it, and hopefully replicate it more deliberately.
So let's shift focus to the modern enterprise. This is where it gets really practical for, people listening who are leading teams or companies right now.
Yeah, this isn't just theory. The sources argue PIL is already the quiet differentiator. It's what separates the truly resilient and successful organizations from the pack.
Can you give some concrete examples?
Yeah.
How does this look in, say, supply chain management?
Okay, think about a global supply chain leader. They're absolutely using AI, predictive analytics, forecasting demand months out. That's clear MI.
Standard practice now, almost.
Almost. But the smart leader knows that data, that model, is fragile. It can be wrong. So what do? They invest time building real human trust with key suppliers. Long-term relationships. That's HI.
So they have a fallback when the algorithm misses something.
Exactly. Resilience through human connection. And simultaneously, they're constantly scanning the horizon for shifting environmental regulations, new carbon taxes, geopolitical instability that could shut down a port overnight.
That's the EI.
That's EI. Conducting all three, MI, HI, EI together constantly to keep things flowing smoothly and robustly.
Okay, supply chains. What about something like healthcare?
Same principles. Forward-thinking health systems use remote sensors, real-time data monitoring for high-risk patients, MI.
Tech-enabled care.
But they also know that burnout and compassion fatigue are huge risks for their staff. So they invest heavily in staff well-being programs, mentorship, ethical review boards, HI.
Looking after the humans in the system.
Crucially.
Oh.
And then they practice EI through foresight. They're actively running complex pandemic response scenarios, connecting current staffing or supply levels to potential future crises years in advance.
MI for monitoring, HI for care teams, EI for future-proofing. It's braided.
It's braided. Even look at, say, food retail. A successful local or regional grocer might source locally to cut emissions and boost sustainability, EI.
Oh.
They'll use predictive analytics, sharp MI, to manage inventory perfectly, minimize waste, ensure freshness.
Efficiency.
But they also invest in community programs, create a welcoming store experience, build customer loyalty. That's the HI piece. That human connection makes them resilient when a bigger chain tries to undercut them purely on price.
So across different sectors, it's this blend that creates advantage.
It's what competitive advantage looks like now, this blending.
This really suggests a fundamental shift needed in how organizations are actually designed, doesn't it? It's not just about the leader's mindset.
Oh, absolutely. You can't just will PIL into existence in a rigid, old-fashioned structure.
Because it's not just about being fast, like the MI implies. You mentioned being fast, thoughtful, and farsighted.
Yes, temporal agility. That's the term some sources use. The leader needs to orchestrate 3 different speeds, almost like a conductor.
3 speeds.
Human time, the rhythm of people, culture change, ethical deliberation. Digital time, the instantaneous speed of machines and data. And future time, the slower, longer-term view needed for strategic foresight and EI.
Wow. Conducting across those 3 tempos simultaneously.
You have to move fluidly between them, adjusting the pace as needed.
And that just cannot happen in a traditional top-down hierarchy where information gets stuck.
No way. If data is power and power is hoarded at the top or in silos, PIL dies on the vine.
So what does a PIL-ready organization look like?
It needs infrastructure for data and insights to flow freely, transparently, across technical teams, HR, sustainability, strategy. no silos.
Open flow of information.
And critically, decisions need to be pushed out to the edge, to the people closest to the action, closest to the customer or the problem, not bottlenecked waiting for approval layers up the chain.
Empowering the edges. That makes sense for speed and relevance. But how do you embed something like ecological intelligence into the circuitry of daily work, as one source put it? That sounds like a big cultural shift.
It is a big shift. It means things like sustainability metrics, ethical impact assessments. They aren't just reviewed by some separate committee once a quarter, you know.
Not just a checkbox exercise.
Right. They need to be integrated right into the start of the process. Like when you're designing an AI system or mapping a supply chain route.
How would that work practically?
Okay. Imagine an MI system suggests optimizing production by switching to a cheaper supplier overseas. In a PIL design workflow, the system automatically flags the EI considerations. What's the carbon footprint of that shipping? Are there potential labor ethics issues? What's the geopolitical risk in that region?
So EI and HI checks are built into the operational decision process itself.
Exactly. They become foundational requirements, not optional extras or things you fix later with PR after something goes wrong.
Not bolted on as damage control.
Precisely. It has to be woven in from the start.
This has been really illuminating, a truly fascinating deep dive. For me, the biggest takeaway is that leadership today, it's just not about presiding over separate departments or areas of expertise anymore.
No, the role has fundamentally changed. It's about weaving human judgment, that deep ecological awareness, and the power of machine fluency into one living, adaptive whole.
The specialists will always provide the depth in HI, MI, or EI.
Of course, you need that deep expertise, but only the leader can braid those threads together into a coherent strategy, a coherent operation.
The job of coherence, that's the essence of polyintelligent leadership.
It's the job.
So for you, our listener, we want to leave you with a final thought to maybe chew on after this.
Yeah, something to mull over. If we accept that great leadership, like Shackleton's or Tubman's, has always been polyintelligent in practice,
Right.
how does formally acknowledging and integrating ecological intelligence today change the very definition of a successful decision compared to a century ago?
That's interesting. How does knowing more about the global impact change things?
Think about it. Shackleton and Tubman mastered EI for their immediate survival, reading the ice, reading the terrain. Essential, but localized. But today, we have explicit global awareness of climate change, resource depletion, interconnected economies, deep time consequences. How does that knowledge, that scale of EI, force us towards different ethical conclusions or more sustainable choices than leaders faced back then?
Because the ripples of our decisions now travel much farther, much faster.
Exactly. The consequences are bigger, more entangled, and navigating that's the real challenge and the real opportunity of leading in this sixth great transition.